Now for something completely different. Completely different.
Hi, C.T. Garrett here, and we're going to be covering our first subject of the series, Demystifying Traditional Martial Arts. And that subject will center around the lead hand strike. Now, when people speak of the lead hand strike, they typically put that under the jurisdiction of boxing. There's a saying, a good jab will take you around the world, and it's very true. And why? Why is the lead hand strike so important? Because the lead hand strike does something that's very important in terms of fight strategy. It has the ability to interrupt the opponent's timing. A person will, in a sense, rev themselves up, and then when they start throwing blows, kicks, throws, whatever, it has to have good timing, it has to have good rhythm. But if something interrupts that process, if you stumble, if you don't breathe correctly, if your attention is taken away, then your timing gets interrupted. Well, that's all things out of the realm of control of the opponent. But what you can do as the person that they're trying to attack is you can interrupt their timing. And the lead hand strike is one of the best ways to do it, partly because it's the closest appendage to the person's body typically. And it can be thrown fairly quickly with a lot of accuracy and serve the purpose of breaking a person's timing. Now, rarely will a person be able to use a lead hand strike for a finishing blow. But as far as breaking timing and setting up more powerful finishing blows, you definitely have to have a great lead hand strike. Now, the misconception is that traditional martial arts does not use them. And that is at least not true from my perspective. The styles that I've studied, Shaolin Trin, Jing Trin, Tai Chi Trin, Bakwa Chang, they all use a lead hand strike to intercept oncoming force or to break timing. Now I'm going to illustrate this first with the Jing Trin system, which is very aggressive and very forward. I'm not going to do Shaolin because Shaolins use a straight jab. They'll use it in ways where they might deflect or do what we call filing and strike at the same time, but it doesn't look terribly different from a Western style jab. The Jing Yi version is a little bit different, and that's what I'm going to illustrate. To again prove traditional martial arts has the same strategies if you're doing the combat pre-Cultural Revolution version. If you're doing the latter versions, then you may not have this information exposed to you. But now, if you are a traditional martial artist and you're watching this series, study your sets. See when the lead hand strike is preceding a lot of your follow-up techniques, and there you'll find that strategy, and then you can start practicing it and incorporating that into your sparring sessions, your two-person sessions, and starting to develop the lead hand strike, because it's very, very, very important. So I have Erwin with me. He's going to be helping me out to illustrate what it is that we're showing you in this series. All right. So, to get to my fighting stance, now there's two ways we're going to use this. Erwin's going to hit me with the lead hand strike himself. I can file it, press in, boom, hit him with the lead hand strike first. Now, obviously, if he's popping it, he's thinking a little bit forward. He's thinking a bit aggressive. So I interrupt that by intercepting his blow. Go ahead and throw it. Boom! There. Okay? Hit right to the chin. You can hit to the neck. You can hit to the clavicle. Okay? Now then from there, the Jing Yi uses 5 different fist forms. They use a P-Trin, kind of a chopping action. They use a drilling punch, which is like an uppercut. They'll use just a straight striking action, which they call a crushing fist. There's a few variations from there. But the most, those 3 represent the striking methods that are commonly used in the Jing Trin system. Okay? So he throws it, boom! I throw his timing off, I interrupt him, boom! Then follow up with some other type of strike. You come in, throw him down to the ground, and finish it. Okay? All being set up by the lead hand strike. Now I can also try, and he throws the lead hand strike, and I hit him from the inside. Okay? So I throw it up, interrupt his timing, I hit him with the P-Trin, lead hand strike, that's important, okay? If he hits me with the backhand, same thing. Boom. Lead hand here, okay? Strike. Lead hand, strike. Lead hand, strike. Okay? Lead hand, step to the lateral, strike. Same idea, okay? If I'm going to the inside, he strikes with that backhand, boom, I'm here, boom! Throwing that technique off to the side, hit with the lead hand strike, and following up. Now, obviously, whenever you go to the inside of a person's body, you've got to be prepared to deal with this opposite side every single time, because they're not going to sit and punch you in freeze frame. They're going to be coming in with a barrage of techniques. Your strategy has to have written into it that you're somehow slowing down the reaction of that opposite side. Okay, that doesn't have a lot to do with the lead hand striking, but it's definitely something you need to pay attention to, because I've seen a lot of people think, point karate style. Hit them one time and it's all over with. Well, it happens, but not very often. If you're not prepared for an exchange of several techniques, you're not prepared to deal with the exchange, in reality. Okay? Now, that's Jingyi's version. Taiji, which likes to use ward off, that's their lead hand strike. Some people will use the pick hand version. Now, what's different about theirs is it's used more like a flank. Okay? So if we're fighting, before he throws his technique, I'm going to throw my hands in his face. And I'm literally going to try to make contact, knowing that chances are I won't make contact. Okay? So it's more like I'm preemptively doing it. But I try my best to sense when he's going to do his attack. And I throw my ward off or pick hand just before he releases it. Kind of like that space between the signal is sent to the muscles to do an action. That process in between, I try to feel that and perfectly time my ward off. Because the Taiji ward off, you're not meant to smack him the same way you would with the Jingyi version of the lead hand strike. It's more you're trying to throw your hand in their face so that it obstructs their vision and gets them to flinch just a little bit, just enough that you can grab and do what Taiji does best, which is grappling techniques, locks, twists, and some minor throws. Okay, so let's illustrate that. He's thinking lead hand strike, boom. I got my hand in his face, I grab here, come across, boom, arm bar, step in, take the leg out, finish. Okay? That's how Taiji thinks about it. Okay? Bagua, now, I'm a Cheng stylist. Cheng Yihua was more of a grappler than he was a striker. But traditional style Chinese grappling, Shuaijiao strikes were often used to set up throws because they're very good at unbalancing people. He hits one in the face, pop him in the gut, hit him in the arm, boom! That's something to think about that could upset their balance just a little bit, and they get thrown. I can remember a story I was told about the founder of Judo, Kano Sensei, and he was trying to explain unbalancing. And he was speaking to people who spoke English. He didn't speak very good English, and he couldn't get the point across. So there's this huge soldier that was a part of this conversation. And so instead of trying to explain something in a language neither one could understand, he took his handkerchief and he threw it in the air toward the person's face. As soon as the person looked at it, bam! On the ground he took it. And it was to illustrate how delicate balance can be. Just your thought to look at something is enough to throw you off and make you vulnerable. That's why in a lot of movies, they see the fighters, the warriors, they have these really steel slit eyes. They're very focused. That's to show that their mind has to be unwavering, has to be unfettered. Without that, you're easy prey, okay? That's kind of what people do in the fight game. They talk a bunch of crap before the fight. They talk about trying to get in that person's head. They try to literally win the fight before they ever step into the ring. Do the chain version where you step to the side, and let's say he does stop. He drops and tries to shoot. I'm here. He's not going to get both of my legs, okay? It's nothing for him as he shoots out to try to get my legs. I just press back, widen my stance, and now he's going to have a hard time getting me, and I'm not directly in front of him. So they're using the footwork as much as the hand as a diversion so that it's not easy for you to get your hands on them and throw them or do whatever it is that you have intended. Try to see the backside, boom! I pop to the side, I'm using that lead hand strike to throw them off. I come in here, pop that leg. One thing that Jing-Yi likes to do that is a little bit more than lead hand strike is they like to use lead hand strike and lead hand foot in coordination together. So let's say Urban's throwing that jab, I do my lead hand strike, but I also kick him at the same time. Okay? Now, if I do this with perfect timing, as he steps, boom! See how that locks his leg out? So I've got my hands in his feet, in his face. So then, boom! Okay? I can transition into another strike, pop here, boom, all kinds of things. Okay? Lead hand strikes, they're very common in most traditional martial arts. Whether your particular school or lineage may have forgotten about them, I would almost guarantee if you analyze your training, especially looking at your sets, you'll probably find those movements in there. You just got to look for them. Okay? So, once again, episode number 1, Demystifying Traditional Martial Arts, lead hand strikes, they are there. You just got to look for them. Once you look for them, you train them. You work them. You work them in rehearse situations. You work them in unrehearsed situations. Incorporate them into your sparring. Try to find the person's timing. Try to find the rhythm. Break their timing. You'll be surprised how far you can get with developing that lead hand strike. Thank you.
Different.
Hey.